Hey everyone, this is Kevin.
This is Kelly.
And this is Ryan, and you're listening to the Bonsai Time Podcast, where today we will be recapping our 2025 US National Bonsai Exhibition experiences.
So, yeah, well, I drove there. Ryan, you drove there.
Yeah, so
Kelly flew there, but drove in Rochester.
maybe we should lay the groundwork. We have some international listeners that don't know what's going on at the national show here in the US. So,
Think so?
well, I don't know, or maybe especially like beginners, they don't know the whole scene and what
True.
happens
Yeah,
at
I guess.
these big
Yeah.
shows, you know.
Yeah. Well, this year especially was different because of the American Bonsai Society
That's what
Incorporation.
I was gonna say. Yeah. So, what is the U.S. National Show usually, Kevin? This is not your first rodeo, so to speak. So, how was it the last time that you went?
Well, that's a different one because the last time was Kelly's first time, and you were supposed to go, but you got sick because you're silly,
Yeah.
Ryan. And
Yeah.
then the first one I went was in 2018, but that was right after I moved to Ohio, and I was hit by a car right before it happened, like that month of July, and then drove there in pain.
So you've been the last
I've
two
been-
national shows in a row, is that right?
I went to the one in the pandemic as well.
Oh,
That one was completely different as well because that one, everyone wore masks, obviously for safety. A lot of older people there and immune compromised people and whatnot. But it was half the size of the people, or half the population of people there. So it was a little more attainable to like do more things and see more things. Generally, though, there are vendors on one side and display trees on the other side, divided down the middle of this sport complex. And there is a smaller demonstration area right kitty corner behind the vendor area. They always generally have some international talent, at least one or two people, and then generally someone from the North American continent. Somewhat from the United States, maybe Canada. Depends on the year. Depends on who can get in or who can't. From what I understand this year, as I'm on the board for ABS, this year was the most vendors they had. I think that it's like 72 vendors this year. Yeah. Kelly, this is your second one, right? How was your experience being your second one?
That was fun. I think the first one, I was just walking around with you because you're the only. I think you were the only one I knew there. I recognized other people, but I didn't know them. So just meeting people. I think the first one, which was the 8th national show, I got to look at the trees more. So this one, I kind of rushed through all the trees because I was hanging out mostly in the vendor area buying stuff. So the first one, I got to appreciate the trees more. I don't think I bought too much the first time I went.
Yeah, I remember you told me you were overwhelmed because they kept introducing you to people like everywhere I walked.
It was great. I couldn't remember everybody's name.
So Kevin, how did you get to the point of knowing everybody? Because maybe we can kind of turn this into sharing both our experiences this year, but also sharing tips for people who want to go in future years and maybe they don't know anybody.
It's a really good question. It's a really good question. In part, I will say on top of that, that is why the ABS, American Bonsai Society, chose to do in cooperation with the National Bonsai Show, because I had stated in one of the board meetings that when we were ruminating on ideas, I'm like, there's a lot of new people that come in here that don't know anyone 2 ways from Sunday. I was one of those people in 2018. I had just moved to Ohio, knew nobody, went there, and I knew a few people from Portland, Oregon. Like Mariah was there before they stopped kind of attending. I got to know people there from my Bonsai Society Portland Club, but it was very few people. And even then, it was just like 0.005% of the people in all the population of people at this facility that I knew. So that's all. Like I said, that's why ABS went ahead and decided to do this thing and create this dynamic to offset some of the stressors of people attending early or doing things behind the scenes they're not supposed to within the area of the national show, and then other
what?
things. Backdoor deals on pots and stuff, or other sales that they don't like happening.
One thing I did hear is that they told the vendors they weren't allowed to sell anything before the official opening date. Is that kind of what you're referring to? Whereas previous years, the vendors would buy from each other a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah, you heard that too. I heard that. That would be correct from my understanding. I can't say yes or no to that. I've never been a part of that. I mean, I've helped set up for people's booths, but I've never intentionally gone out to go get stuff before. I don't like doing that. I think that's rude to people who want to come in to get stuff. But I mean, that's how business works sometimes. So it's just lay of the land, I guess, or was. But back to the question, how did I start knowing all the people? And I laughed because there's a gentleman named John Kirby. I refer to him, Mr. John Kirby. Chatted with him this time. Hey, Mr. Kirby, how you doing? He actually lives in Connecticut. I believe it's Connecticut. No, Rhode Island. Anyways, New England area. I chatted with him this time. I chat with him every time I see him. Side note, he's originally from Oregon, McMinnville. Kind of funny. It's really close to my hometown. Anywho, he asked me, or last national show, he brought up the same point. He's like, wow, so many people now. That's insane. Because, in 2018, you knew no one. More to the point, how did I do it? I just went up to people and was so boisterously big personality, where I'm generally an introverted extrovert. I'll be extroverted through bonsai and skateboarding and other artistic outlets, but I'll be introverted elsewhere because I just am. I chose to be that way because I knew if I didn't try to make a network of people or friends anytime, anywhere I would go to bonsai events, then I would just be on my own island in Ohio. Funny story, side tangent, Rob Hoffman, who we all know on this podcast.
Kelly, did you get to meet Rob this time?
Yes, I hung out with him a little bit.
Okay.
He and I actually met the first national show before we actually met in Ohio. I was standing in a bar next to him at this Mariah event, and turns out I looked at him, I looked at his leg. He has a missing leg, of course. And I was like, "Oh, cool leg." He's like, "Yeah, I know." And he walks off, and I was like, "Man, what a dick." And then
he probably thought you were a dick.
He did. And then, long story short, we were at his now nursery when it's fledgling stage, and he had his hoop house, and him and I were repotting trees back to back of each other. And that's when I brought up, like, 2018 Nationals, like, I met this dude, and we both just turned and looked at each other like, you were the asshole. I was like, yeah, he's like, that's a dick move, dude. You never talk about someone's leg. I'm like, that's a good point. Learned my lesson. But for anybody listening at any bonsai show, no one is off limits to talk to, unless they say don't talk to me, of course. But
I don't think anyone would say that.
I mean, there's always one of those people, I think.
Maybe they'll have earbuds in. That'll be kind of the nonverbal version of that.
Nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, that's Ryan. I mean, that's why we started the podcast, right? We wanted people to feel more connected to these people in this facilitation, where they could feel connected to the higher ups or the professionals that they don't have access to, or maybe some people were too worried to go say hi or something, when in relation they can hear their backstories, and it's like, oh, I already kind of know more about them. I feel comfortable talking to them. That's kind of what I did. I mean, not everybody does that, believe me. Like last national show, Kelly, I introduced you to so many people, your eyes were spinning. And then the same with our friend Bentley, Mike Bentley. He's like, dude, I can't meet any more people. My tank's full, man, or something like that. And I was like, oh, my bad. And I did it this time to, who was I with? I was with a few people. I did the same thing again. I always tell people, if you're with me, I'm going to introduce you to people that I appreciate because they're good people. And if you're with me, you're a good person. Mm-hmm. I don't like hanging out with non-good people. And I have a pretty good gauge for that. And so I'll introduce them to make a bigger network so they can also be friends with these people too, because we're all family in bonsai. The only thing that gets in the way is ego or personality, and I say leave those things at the door. But
Yeah, I did have a lot of people saying that they felt like a family reunion going to these type of events and seeing people you don't see very often, but you all have that shared interest or shared common thread.
I mean, Kelly, going back to the idea of meeting people, did you feel like you had a better foundation of people that you knew, or that you could go up to people and talk with them more comfortably this time, being your second show?
Or did you remember any of the people that Kevin introduced you to the first time?
No, no way.
No, I remembered some of them, and plus I've ran into them in between the two national shows, like the 8th and the 9th national show. I remember people. People don't remember me. They mistaken me a lot for Michelle. Michelle is
Kim.
John Kim's wife. They both own Joshua Roth Tools.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll sit next to someone and they'll be like, "Oh hi, where's John?" And I'm just like blank stare, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," because they'll realize I'm not Michelle. Yeah, that just happens a lot. So I'm over. Michelle and I joke around. We're like, "Hey twin," she's like, "Hey twin." Even to be fair,
we should make you buttons. We should make you buttons that says, "Hi, my name's not Michelle," and then Michelle can go, "Hi, my name's not Kelly," and that will be it. It's like
we think it's funny. I mean, I would prefer people to remember me and know who I am, but that's okay. Because even John was like, one time I looked at you, Kelly, and for a second I thought you were Michelle. So yeah, don't get offended when people do that. I was like, yeah. Do you guys know Tony Bebb?
I saw him at the demo area.
I met Mr. Tony Bebb in Japan this last February. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an Australian bonsai person. His wife Keiko was here. She was translating for Toro Suzuki.
Oh, okay.
I guess he was a demonstrator.
Yeah.
Oh, and a judge. He was a judge. Yeah, he was a judge. Because Bill always brings a Japanese bonsai person to judge the show. And even Tony on the last day I was there, which was like Monday, he goes, "Oh," because I was standing in the middle of Bill's garden. And he goes, "Oh, first," he's like, "I almost thought you were Keiko. Good thing I didn't come up to you." I was like, "Yeah, I'm used to it."
It's funny.
So,
Mr. Tony Bebb, he's a really nice guy. He's been doing bonsai for a long time. Ryan, did you meet him?
No, I didn't really chat with him. I just was watching Toro's pine wiring demonstration, and then Tony had asked some questions or maybe assisted here and there with it.
He said he'd be down to do an interview, so we'll have to get that going.
Kevin, I think we missed that demo because we were looking for food. The line at the restaurant was so long.
The lack of dedication. You should starve yourself to be there the whole day.
Yeah. Was that not self mutilation, but something like it's like do better.
I took some pictures of the end result of Toro's demonstration, so I'll try to get that organized, post that online when we have this recap posted.
That'd be great, because that's the one I wanted to see.
How about you with meeting people? Like, I know I introduced you to a few people. We got to meet Colin Lewis. I super fanboyed hard.
He disappeared all day on Sunday, but he came back, and then I had him sign my first ever bonsai book, which was written by him, which I dug out of my childhood bedroom just to bring to him. So I'm glad that that I found him before I left.
How did you guys know he was going to be there?
That's a good question.
Ben Keating told me.
Yeah, I think I just expected that he might be because I heard from other club members that they had met him there in the past.
I would have bought a book. I took a picture with him because Kevin told me he was there, but I didn't have my book.
But what was your question, Kevin?
Well, same question for me. How did you feel about meeting people? I mean, also too, us having a platform now, people I think recognize our voices more than our face. Obviously, as I always make the joke, Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of people recognize me and or my voice and introduce themselves. Oh, I met Robert Barron, who we have a recorded interview with that we're waiting.
Wait, he was there?
Yeah. I met him, and he told me that he gets us
life.
confused, and I'm like, don't worry, a lot of people say that. But
White
Yeah,
guys, the token white guys.
yep. And so chatted with him, chatted with a few other listeners,
Mm,
and I plugged our brand new Bonsai Time Discord and told them like we want to have more of a two-way relationship with our listeners. So if you're listening to
yeah.
this, feel free to join us there or the Facebook group and introduce yourself if you see us in person.
And
Um,
find the links listed below.
yes, yes. But overall, I introduced myself. I met a couple of people that we interviewed, but I had never met in person. So that was kind of nice to actually see. Oh, this is the face
Who
in
was that?
person. Ben Keating, I never met
Oh,
before, and I think I'd never. There's several people that maybe I had seen around or seen them online, but didn't introduce myself to. Didn't have a reason to talk with them
mm,
necessarily. Yeah, I was kind of like in different phases of like on a mission when I was there at the show. So just to recap a little bit, I was driving in overnight Friday basically because I had some stuff to take care of before I could go. And then I actually slept at a rest stop and gave Kevin a heart attack because he thought I was going to make it to sleep in
yeah.
the Airbnb with him. Um,
Yeah, the crap out of me, man. I woke up in the morning. I was like, did
yeah,
I get an accident? And then I looked at my
yeah.
phone. I was like, okay.
So I probably turned up like 7
I
or
made the
8
bed for
a.m.
I made the bed for
Yeah,
you and everything.
yeah, I do appreciate that though, because when I came 7 or 8 a.m., then I
You're
just crashed
welcome.
for a couple hours and then went to the show for a little bit on Saturday. Just kind of walked through the trees at that time, wasn't too worried about saying hi to anybody. But then I had the uh, workshop with Hugo. So I kind of walked through the trees and then walked through the vendor area and said hi to some people I had met, like when I was vending at other regional shows, different people like that. And then I had the Hugo workshop to get to. So that was the ABS learning seminar. They kind of had the pot display contest and a couple of bring your own tree, a couple of workshops where the trees were provided were on Friday. So yeah, Hugo's workshop was a lot of fun, learned a lot, and then he gave me some good tips for one of my big boxwood Yamadori. So the next day when I was there at the show, I was on a mission to find a pot that would match it. So I had my tape measure and I went around first thing in the morning to all the pot vendors.
Where'd
But
you get
then
your pot
after
from, actually?
I got the pot for that one from Eli Atkins or Akins.
Oh, nice. Waldo Street. Yeah,
One.
Atkins. Yeah, Eli. Good dude.
Yeah, that's Waldo Street. I get him confused with Robert Wallace, and Roberts is Wallace Woods Pottery, I think. But they're both
Mm-hmm.
W's. That's why I get them confused. But
Ah,
yeah, yeah. So I got it from Eli in the end, but Robert has good pots too, as a lot of them do there. So yeah, I got a couple pots in the morning on Sunday for some trees I have in mind for next year. Excited about that. Looking forward to that. And then after that, I took more time through the trees, and that's where I kind of met some listeners um, and some people I just chatted with where we were looking at the trees at the same time. So in that way, you don't need to know somebody to talk to them. You're just like, oh, you see them appreciating a tree, and maybe you both comment on it. So met some new people that way. One of the people that I met was kind of standing by his tree that he brought there to the show. That guy, I think his name was John Mullins from Tennessee. So that's a good way to network, I guess, is just talk to people about the trees in the exhibit and spend some time in there and kind of pay attention to the observations people are making, make your own observations and study. If you're trying to get trees to that level, what is it that set these trees apart? Because it is a juried entry, kind of, or maybe Bill
yeah,
is the decider,
it
but
is.
he
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
judge and jury in that case. But yeah, so that's kind of how my Sunday went. And then after that, like I said, I watched some of the demo and hunted down Colin Lewis and kind of hung out with people that way.
Forgot executioner.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you could say Bill is also the executioner because I heard that, he decides based on the pictures that people submit if a tree is accepted to the show. But if a
Mm.
tree that is accepted shows up and it's not in good condition, he can say that it's out, it can't be in it still. He reserves that right. So, yeah.
He's putting on the show, so yeah.
Yeah. And I did kind of briefly say hi to some people like Bill, who I had, maybe met once when he was at the Seattle club. I was like, oh, you probably don't remember me, but great job putting on the show. And same with Andrew Robson. Like he and I had emailed and Instagram messaged just a couple of times in the past 5 years or whatever. So I saw him. I was just like, oh, nice to meet you in person, So yeah, just a couple quick introductions like that.
Yeah, his one of his clients won was it best tree or best North American tree? I can't remember.
It was Japanese black pine, so it wouldn't have been North American. I think it was overall best in show though. It was a very large Japanese
cool.
black pine. Yeah,
beautiful.
Yep.
As I think I told you all, I was possibly not even going to go this time. I had bought the tickets, but I was playing with the idea, and my wife was just asking me. Was asking me, "You excited to go?" A couple weeks before, and I'm like, I don't know. She's like, "If you're not excited, just stay here." I'm like, "Oh, I'm excited." She's like, "Okay, then go."
It's different though if it's like your fourth show, probably. But
usually I get like, "Oh, yeah, it's great." Man, I'll tell you what. Most people know now that I lost the job at the National Bonsai and Penjing Museum because of the government cuts.
Not your fault.
It's no. But it's in relation to I never started, so it was that whole thing. So for the last since February, my I've been in a head spin. I was really depressed, and I was just like, do I want to go to this thing where I know I don't have any output to put into it, or input to put in with the output? And I just got in there, and it felt like this warm embrace of people that were like, "Hey, I heard what happened." All these people were like, "Oh, how'd you hear?" "Oh, this person." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Small enough community, it goes like wildfire. But I ended up talking to Julian Tsai.
I think you told it on the podcast at least once, so
briefly, but more people,
maybe not the full story, but yeah.
I mean, down that rabbit hole later. But I ended up talking with Julian Tsai for like 2 hours. Sorry, Julian, that was a long time, long lunch.
While I was sleeping in.
Yeah, and no, I just chat with him about things as he's had his own experiences, and just chatting with him. And I don't know why it just turned out to be Julian, and it really got me out of my funk, and it was really nice. So, Julian, a shout out to you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I ended up talking to Karen Harkaway after leaving, getting ready to go right back to Massachusetts, where we're at now in Williamstown. And I almost started crying. I just told him, like, to be honest, I almost thought about quitting because, what did I have to go for? Like, no way. I was like, yeah. But then I realized, quitting doesn't serve a purpose.
Quitting bonsai or quitting what?
Bonsai. Yeah. But this show, I mean, it's back and forth. I don't know anyone that's never thought about quitting, right? Because if you're not thinking about it, then you're not doing something to the fullest extent. But there's a stress in relation of like, well, if I do this, then what am I going to do? There's nothing for me there. Talk to other people professionally that are like, yeah, I've thought about quitting after a huge loss because it's just that huge depression that gets on you. And I realized my mind wasn't right. So, that's the first time I publicly said this, but I'm proud of it. I've gotten through it, but this show really brought me to my senses of just like, yeah, I'm okay without having trees right now to work on because I'm in transition in my life. And, seeing you both there, we don't get to see each other often in person. So that was a really nice family, with the Bonsai Time people. It's just like, oh, okay, so we are doing something right. We're still friends. I don't know. Like,
I love Ryan. I love Ryan when I saw him. I'm like, Ryan. He's like, hey, Kelly. I'm like, all the emotion, Ryan, all the emotion.
No, I was like, oh, hey, Kelly. Like, oh, I didn't see you there.
No. It was just
I
like,
haven't seen you for 2 years, Ryan.
Yeah.
Anytime. Hey, Kevin. Hey, guys. I'm like,
yeah.
Ryan,
That's why I love Ryan.
Hey, guys.
Hey, I didn't see you there.
Like, how do I know Ryan's a scientist? Hey, everyone.
Yeah.
No, but
in my defense, I was like sleep deprived. Probably took a minute to process.
That's okay. I like that you're just stable in who you are.
Yeah,
consistently consistent.
Yeah, consistent.
No, I had a good time with y'all. It was our first outing. I wish we would have had stickers, but next time.
Yeah, I didn't
Uh,
have time before that. So this is going to be my winter project. Bonsai Time
yeah.
shirts and stickers.
Well, that's
Yes.
the thing too. Is like I saw like other people's shirts. I'm like, oh, it would have been cool to have some paraphernalia, so they say, to
Mm,
administer to the people. One thing I did notice too with this show is I thought I found out more people didn't know who we were in relation of, oh, I haven't heard of that podcast. I'm like, okay, which I'm not worried about it, but it also triggered something in me. And like, oh, okay, so how can we do better? Where can we get? What can we do? Where
yeah.
can we get more out of it? I think that just means more consistent releases and things. This show
Yeah.
taught me a lot about it. I
So
did have, Rory. Shout out to Rory
oh
at the
yeah,
end.
our
That was
Cleveland
cool.
friend.
I was like, oh man, I was you since like I just met Rory and then I just
Mm,
left Ohio basically. But hearing stories like he said, amongst other podcasts to listen to, which I listen to all of them as well, bonsai related. Um, he's like, oh, I really like what you guys are doing. So that was nice to hear. Those are the wonderful things about shows. You get to hear the stuff.
mhm,
And people keep telling me, I don't know if they told you, but they want to hear more from Kelly. So Kelly,
mm.
come on.
I
So
saw.
Kelly,
I
oh,
was.
go ahead.
I met Rory. We
Mm.
were. I think it was the last critique of the show, Sunday
Oh, at the
afternoon.
Stone one.
Sean Smith.
Mm.
Yeah. So I was just kind of listening to the end of it or something, and Rory was there because I think I asked Sean something. He goes, "Are you Kelly?" He goes, "I recognize your voice." I'm like, finally, someone that's not mistaking me for somebody else. But yeah, he was really cute. He was a nice guy.
It's a good dude. I honestly didn't really look at the trees. I ran out of
Oh.
time.
Mm. I got pictures.
Um,
This year they allowed us to take pictures. I heard the previous year you weren't supposed to. So,
yeah, no,
uh,
you're not supposed to traditionally.
Hmm.
mm,
I don't know why. I wanted to talk to so many people, but also I didn't want to get depressed because I didn't have trees to go work on at home after seeing all these beautiful
mm,
trees. So
mm.
it's like I omitted myself from seeing the trees fully, which is stupid because I really
In
wish now I would
hindsight,
have. I was like, oh, so dumb. But a part of me is like, no, don't go do it. It'll just be sad because you can't go home and then
I'm the
well,
opposite of you,
actualize.
Kevin. I was like, I'm so stressed out. Like, I got to go back and figure out how to do my trees.
how to make them like that.
Yeah, or
Well,
like depressed because I'm like, my trees are crap.
Mm,
that's yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't have trees to work on, so it's like, do I want to go see all this magic and then not have the ability to go let out this inertia on my art project?
mhm. Well,
Mm.
that's one thing that I've heard from maybe you and Rob, Kevin, is that going to these big shows have always felt motivating for you guys in
Mm,
terms of when you go back to your garden
yeah.
and motivates you to work on your trees more and get them better. So
Like,
what
oh,
are
this
you
is
going
like
to do with
shit.
that energy now? Are you going to go get some
uh,
trees for your time in Massachusetts? Are you going to go volunteer at someone else's garden? Or what do you think you're going to do with
um,
that?
I've talked to a few people around. Shout out to Josh Jerem, super good dude.
I got one of his
Talked
pots.
about
Yeah.
nice, good dude, good person all around. Talked with him possibly about helping out with some stuff. A few other people. The Mohawk Hudson Club I'm going to be a part of now, and
Mm,
great club, super good people, lovely people. Beautiful area where the club meets. It's like just pastoral lands and stuff. It's beautiful. Um, very upstate New York, Vermont, New England, like kind of forests and stuff. It's really pretty. I don't know. Buying more trees, like I have two tropicals. I shouldn't say I don't have any trees. I have two tropicals and a small juniper whip. But it's like we just hit 39 this morning,
mm,
and it's
degrees.
only
Yeah.
middle of September, and I'm just like,
First day of autumn is
oh,
tomorrow.
It's 88 here right now.
go away, Kelly. Don't want your heat. um, so I don't know if I will. I mean, we're just in transition, and it's one of those things where I don't have the capacity to take on more because I'm doing a full-time dad now, which I love.
Mm,
But it's one of those things where it's like I don't necessarily have the availability to go out and do more expenditure of my energy.
That's
mm,
like,
I started. What was that?
oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I got advice from my aunt a few years ago. So she's a big plant person. Now she just does a lot of ikebana.
Mm.
And I was into cactus, succulent, all this other stuff before bonsai. And I was like, gosh, some of the species are hard to get, right? Because they're rare. And she goes,
Mm.
instead of collecting so many, why don't you just go volunteer somewhere or just go to a garden and enjoy it there? And then you don't have the responsibility to take care of it. I go, that's great. That's true. You
Yeah.
could just go look at it. If you volunteer, you can work on it or help plant it or whatever. And then you don't have to worry about keeping it alive because that's somebody else's job. So you kind of get your fix in a way.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like go find an alley, good alley nap.
Yeah, that's basically how I got my fix when I was studying with Dan. And when I started out, I was living in a dorm, so I had no outdoor space for at least the first 6 months, I want to say. And then gradually I got some of my own trees, but it was mostly his trees for a while.
Yeah, that's what I did with Rob a lot when I didn't have material that I could just physically work on to get more practice on older material.
Yeah,
The
or
things
if
when I was
things
in Ohio.
aren't healthy, aren't ready yet for work, then that's a good thing to do.
Or I'll do that when I go to Oregon. Like I did that this summer. I saw a Hagedorn garden and I helped him with his apprentice patch. Went to Lee Cheadle's place, did some styling work there and stuff. And
Patch is such a cool name.
Patch is a really good person. Hope to have them on sometime. I don't know. I don't think I'll go buy trees. I plan to do some talks here and there, but I definitely am more motivated after the show. It just felt like a good family reunion, like you said, and a lot of people say. But it's just interesting because this is your first time, and since I've known you, I've tried to get you to come. And I remember you used to say, "I'm only gonna go when I get a tree in" or something. I'm like, that's stupid.
Well,
that could take 20 years, and who knows?
To be fair, I did submit a tree this year, but it didn't make it in. And then so Hugo Zamora, the Kodama Bonsai Studio from Mexico. So he studied with Kobayashi. He was the Bring Your Own Tree workshop on Saturday or Friday. No, it was Saturday at the Nationals.
Because you were sitting at a truck stop on Friday.
Right. But he came back with Rob after the Nationals, and just yesterday I went to another workshop with him. And so I brought the tree that I submitted to Nationals. And so I told him that I submitted it, and he gave me some very high level advice on it. And so I'm kind of using it to identify where I'm still stuck and need to improve, Because basically it was this boxwood I dug 4 years ago. And so it was a multi-year process to reduce it to the size to be bonsai size. And then the last 2 years or so, I've just been pruning on it after I'd wired every little branch. And so I've been improving the density. And it still has room to improve in that regard. But there were other flaws that I neglected in focusing on the ramification, Some areas were too congested. Some areas I had been doing this pruning to try to get more backbudding and everything, but some branches they refused to backbud in a useful section. So I think I need to give the tree more time, do a little bit of a harsh pruning in a couple places, and let a couple other backbuds that I had developed grow out and thicken more so I get more taper in the branches, not just in the trunk. So I realized that definitely the tree has more that it can be improved on before maybe the next national or 2 nationals from now, and then it'll be hopefully more ready to submit again. So I think it's useful. Looking back, I did have that mindset where I wanted to have a tree in the show, and because then it's more worth the time and money to go there, right? But to go there and see the trees in person that make it, that gives you a reference for, okay, what are the other trees like? What am I kind of, in a way, competing against, or that I'll be displayed alongside if I were to have a tree accepted,
Oh, it sounds like someone said that before. Kevin, me, to Ryan.
I don't know. I don't remember that. But yeah, you guys were talking about how fun it is. And to be fair, in my defense, I was planning to go the last nationals, but somehow got COVID the literal week of the show. So I better late than never, right?
Yeah. Oh, Kelly, I mean, you've gone to both bonsai expos now, right? And now you've been to 2 nationals. Do you feel more inspired by shows, or what do you get away from it now? Because they're both great shows. I went to the first expo in 2020. 2022, 2022. What is your takeaway from both of those to this?
When you say inspired to like get a tree in a show, or just inspired to do better trees?
All the above. I mean,
maybe
do you
the question
inspire
is,
to meet more people?
did it inspire you to change your bonsai practices in any way after the expo, like either the national or the Pacific expos?
Yeah. So you guys get me. You guys understand my Kev English, as Kumi says.
Yeah.
So, it's cool.
That's a good term for it.
Kev English, yeah.
Kevin isms. I don't think I aspire, at least not right now, aspire to get a tree in any show except like a club show, and even then, I'm not trying that hard. I think the only thing one of the things, I shouldn't say only, it inspires me to do is just be more patient, because you just kind of, like, as a beginner, you just kind of want to get something nice, right? And hurry it up and not wait, because why is this thing taking so long?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of inspires me to go, well, I gotta wait, because like if you talk to any of the or some of the owners of these trees that developed them, not just bought the tree and kind of maintained it, but the ones that actually developed it into what showed up at the shows, they took 10, 15 years at least minimum. So there's no rush. Like
species dependent too, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah,
And
probably so.
growing location dependent. There was that one ficus with all these aerial roots, and the guy, Jesus, is that his name?
I think so.
Yeah, I saw him posted on Facebook recently with a comparison of what the tree was 10 years ago. And it looked night and day difference. And so that's one of the fastest growing species growing in southern Florida or Miami, where it's very humid and going to grow even faster than it would anywhere else. So if that tree took 10 years to build on the foundation and get into the show, then it makes sense that slower growing species in a colder climate would take longer.
Yeah. Something with this shows going forward, of any show I've ever been to. I mean, I've been to stuff in Japan, and that's completely culturally, contextually different. But we're talking about shows in the US. I've never been to a show in Canada or Mexico, but US, United States shows. The demos, I love demos, but I would like to see something more engaging to our generation of audience and other people of older generations or that are seniors in bonsai could also tap into as well. And that's like doing like a live interview in place of a demo. Because
or
I
maybe
think
in addition to, like, if there's any spare time in the schedule.
Yeah, or just having a set position where you're doing maybe like a live interview and you're recording it to offset later for people who couldn't be there. And then there could be audience, like it's like a panel, like at a Comic-Con, where people come up and actually ask questions to these people or something that way.
Panels would be a cool idea too. I've seen one at the, I think it was at the Pacific Bonsai Museum. They opened their natives exhibit, and I remember Dan had showed up there after he had a heart attack like the day before or 2 days before.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think Aaron, the curator there, has talked about this story in some interview, maybe on Mariah or something like that. But yeah, so panels are definitely a cool idea that I would like to see at more bonsai events.
I know Little Things Bonsai Podcast, Little Things for Bonsai People podcast did a live recording event at their I think Evan Pardue's nursery, the Underhill Bonsai Nursery. They did a big I guess get together or event, and they have a live recording, which is pretty cool. But on a national stage for like the national show or like the Bonsai Expo, I think that'd be cool because it would just elicit more of another outlet for people to go to. Because there's so many people that just watch YouTube or whatever, but there's a lot of people that don't even know what a podcast is still, or they're like, oh, how do I do that, or where do I listen to those, or things like that. I guess us having T-shirts and their gear might help as well. I don't know.
So let me ask an unrelated question, if we're okay diverging here. Kelly, I wanted to ask you, what trees were the most memorable to you? I was listening to a Walter Paul interview on Bonsai Wire recently with Jonas Dupuis, and Walter talks a lot about making memorable trees, not just making the perfect trees. And that kind of stood out to me and made me reflect on the experience of going to nationals differently. So, what trees were memorable to you, Kelly?
Well, can I
Now
ask you
that,
one question?
just
With that question?
one more added context. So it's been about a week since the show, so now it's really testing our memory.
Well, I wanted to add one thing. Is there also something with memory based on a tree that if you know a person or you've seen their work before, that you have a memory of who this person is because it's kind of their personality in the tree?
Yeah, that probably does bias the memory,
Right.
especially if you talk to the owner of a tree or any details like that. But just generally speaking, what trees were most memorable to you, Kelly?
So there was 2 crab apples. I just like little apple trees. So they might not have been the best. I don't know. I don't think they won anything, but I always like apple trees. I bought a bunch from Bill and figured out how to smash it into my suitcase to get it home.
Little seedlings or special variety?
I think they were 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So I had to cut them down and figure out how to like matrix it, Tetris it into my suitcase.
If it's a good variety, maybe you could save the cuttings and give those a try.
Yeah,
Too late.
like I'm good. Yeah, we threw them away.
Probably, yeah.
So the apples,
Next time.
and then there was I don't even know what it was. It was some kind of pine. It was in an interesting pot with 2 food dogs.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. That was a really cool one. The guy said he made that pot.
Yeah, he made the pot, and that's his tree. So that stood out. And like what Kevin said, if you know the owner or they talked to you about their tree, of course you're going to remember it better. So there were a few of those where someone talked to me, or I knew the person whose display it was, and it made me obviously look closer and remember it.
Yeah, what details of those other displays do you remember? I'm trying to see. This is also testing my memory if I looked at the same trees as closely as you did.
I have a bias here because I will say I did walk through the trees. I was
Okay, so you
talking to
saw
Austin
some of them.
Heitzman. I did. I did not just not go.
Just
that'd
not
be
go to that
stupid.
half.
That'd be stupid. That'd be dumb. It's like, why did I pay for a ticket? I was talking to Austin Heitzman. Sorry to interrupt, Kelly, but I wanted to get this point across. Talking to Austin Heitzman, and the trees I remember are the ones that were with his tables. So he had the one of Jeremiah. I don't remember his last name. Sorry, Jeremiah. But the huge sculpture pot with the really old, was it lodgepole pine or something that was hanging over?
Oh,
We were talking about with
like
Rory.
a Jonathan Cross.
Yes, Jonathan Cross
like
pot. Yeah,
very angular cubism almost in a way, but with more angles. Kind of a pot.
And it's all American people doing all that on American tree, or native to the North American continent. And then another tree that had it was, I remember the table because it had like an inlay, almost looks like he painted on there, but it was from the wood, a yellow line around this rectangle table that was probably about 1 inch, 2-3 inches in height. And it just looked like this kind of 1960s-esque thing. It was really cool. And then I saw that. Didn't one of the crab apples actually have apples, or was that a cherry on there?
I've never seen apples. That one. Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's so cool. I wouldn't want to eat it though. I've heard that the edibility is not edible. But Kelly, you were saying. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to get that out there before I forgot.
I forgot where.
So you remembered the pine with the little jade kind of
food dogs.
Food dogs. I guess, what is a food dog? I don't know, but that's what they were called, I guess.
Food dogs are ancient Chinese philosophies. There's things in Okinawa, being Okinawa is based off Chinese and then its own culture. Called we have to cut this out.
It wards off spirits, right?
Yeah, protects houses. She says what they're called in Okinawa, which is a male and a female, and they're supposed to protect. It's the same thing. It's derived from Chinese guardian lions, food dogs.
Oh, so that's why you always say 2 of them, basically.
Yeah. Food dog female is, I believe, the one. Let me check. We can edit this part out.
Nah.
Ryan's like, make it easy for him.
Yeah. But
they're there in representation of cultural context.
hmm.
So it says here the male food dog on the right from the viewer's perspective and the female on the left. Kisa, if you're in Okinawa, have one's mouth is open and the other one is like with a hand or claw on the ball. So it says the male Shisa has an open mouth to scare away evil spirits, while the female Shisa has a closed mouth to keep in good fortune and spirits. That fits. Women are smarter than men.
So good to know. Thank you for sharing. So,
history. There you go.
Yeah. Now we know if we're going to put any food dogs in our garden, how to have it. But
well, if you're trying to do Japanese, you got to do something a little different, maybe than Chinese contextually. Yeah. We're getting off topic here. We can ask Walter Rains in the future about that.
Yeah, we'll look into it if we ever need that. But so Kelly, you were saying you remembered the food dog pine and the crab apple.
Some of the stones.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But I was kind of rushing because Sunday came and I was like, oh, I only have a couple hours. Like, look at the trees. So I purposely made myself stop at every display and look. Mm-hmm. But there's like, 150 displays or 155 displays and over 200 trees to look at because you count the little trees, the shohin trees. So it's just hard to take it all in while you're trying to rush before it closes.
That is true. That was kind of my case on Saturday with my limited sleep time before the workshop. I did just kind of walk through the display areas quickly. And then on Sunday, when I had my time after buying my pots, I also I did take a little more time because I was taking pictures of all of them. But it was less, you could walk through that exhibit many times and focus on a different detail each time. I think that Jonas has talked about this on maybe some previous interview, maybe the one we did with him or one of his own on his podcast. But he said that when he was in Japan, he's gone through and looked at all the pots in the exhibit, or look at all the accents, or look at all the stands, and like each little layer of detail, you can go through and just focus on that. So it is kind of a lot to take in all at once. But I think for me, the trees that stood out in my memory, I do remember the lodgepole, Kevin, because it had a huge trunk, and I looked up close at it, and it was because I was wanting to check what species it was. It was 2 needles. That's how I know it was lodgepole pine, as opposed to white bark, which would be 5, or what's the other one that has 5? The other native one?
So limber?
Limber pine. Yeah, that's the other one. So yeah, I expected it to be one of the limber or the white bark pine because those are high alpine, and this tree looked like it had been flattened and then put on its side for our display, basically. So I figured some kind of high alpine rock slide, avalanche, snow loading area, something like that. So yeah, that was very cool to see just because you could see all the abuse that the tree had gone through in the wild. There was also a very cool one along that vein that was actually from Evan Pardue. It was the hollow bald cypress. And I talked to him about it briefly, introduced myself. He said that it had been something that had just been in his nursery and kind of neglected for a while. And then, so that's probably how the hollow developed. If there's some dead wood that's not taken care of, then the hollow will rot. Or maybe it was already like that, but nobody caught an interest in it. And that's how he ended up styling it. But that one was very cool to see. And there was one other impressive bald cypress that was big, and I think that one won some award. The Randy Bennett bald cypress that had some knees that he had grown in the pot.
Yeah, I'd seen that one. I did pass by that one because I was on the same table as I saw the Austin Heitzman stance.
Yeah, and that one was, I don't know what award it won, but what I heard and kind of agree with is that tree looks like a very good John Naka inspired bonsai. Like it was very dense, impressively dense for a bald cypress, and had many good foliage paths and everything well arranged. So That was one cool one.
One thing we need to talk about before we end this is the ABS pots competition. For anyone that wasn't there or didn't get to see it, there are pictures up now. Shout out to Angelica Ramirez and the whole team. They kicked it out the park, or knocked it out the park. I don't know how to talk. Anyways, it was awesome. I helped clean up. That was my job. I went and cleaned up. Some of the pots were amazing pieces of art that I didn't see a tree being able to go into because they would not complement each other. It's like either the pot or the tree.
Mm-hmm.
But did you walk it, Ryan?
I walked it briefly before my workshop, but it ended at around 3 p.m. on Saturday, so
Yeah,
I didn't have a lot of time.
Kelly, you didn't get to it,
right? So I was there Friday because I sat through some of the workshops in the morning, afternoon Friday.
Oh, okay.
Not workshops, seminar. I guess they're called seminars.
Yeah.
So they were putting out some of the pot displays, and I guess they had to remove some of the tags, like the name tags, because they were judging.
Yeah.
So I saw some of them, and I thought I'd come back like maybe Sunday, but then I realized it's only on Saturday. So Angelica said somebody probably filmed the pots, like them walking through. So hopefully I'll find one of those videos.
Is that either filming or photos or both? I
think
remember.
they did take photos also, but some people independently filmed walking through.
Yeah, and she said it's on the ABS site, so you can look at the pictures of the pots. And you can read about the artist, but I'd rather watch a video.
Yeah. So one thing I was thinking of walking through the show, there was 2 trees that I'm pretty sure are from, I think his name is Bob Darling, maybe, like DH. I'm not sure, but I met him in Pittsburgh. He has a bonsai nursery there and was vending at the national show. So there were 2 larches that were from him. And they had these little information signs, which is something I wish that more bonsai had when they're at shows like this. Especially, Kevin, you were talking about the foo dog symbolism earlier. And I feel like there's a disconnect between the creator who makes the display, and maybe they use some Japanese and Chinese symbolism, and 99% of the public who will have no idea any of that symbolism, and that's something I tried to incorporate in some of my displays at the local show. Like when I had the invasive species display, I had a little. I tried to make it so that the description was just flat on the table. So if you stand back and look at it, you're not going to see that blocking your view. But I kind of laid out like, oh, this is how you identify these species. This is what the species do that makes them harmful. That's one thing I would like to see in more displays in the future. But also, I think in past, from what I heard at the Pacific Bonsai Expo that you went to, Kevin and Kelly, is that they had a little artist statement for each tree. And that this was some kind of booklet that they like a program maybe that they handed out. Is that right?
We're ever receiving a booklet from the first expo. I remember they have a book that you can purchase from all the trees in there.
Oh, okay. So maybe the artist statements were only available in the book.
Yeah, that would. Kelly, do you recall artist? I don't recall artist statements being anywhere near a tree or anything. That's why I asked Michael. That's why I asked Michael Hagedorn for his breakdown when we interviewed him.
Okay.
Because I knew it was Michael just by the authenticity of it being. Oh, this is probably Michael, and it was. Something.
Oh no! At the PBE, they do give you. I don't remember. I think there's a booklet, and you can flip through and look at the description of the tree and all that at the PBE. I don't think at nationals.
Was it last year's PBE? Because I don't remember that being.
Well, there's only been. Oh, have there been 1 or 2 now?
2. 2022 was the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they had it in. Well, I know the last one they had a booklet because I passed them out and passed it out to people online.
I don't remember having one.
All I mean to say is that seems like a cool idea to add more context to the trees. And, context helps make things more understandable for general public, and also maybe the
Yeah.
context will draw more people in than just the
Well,
surface level viewing.
two things. Bill Valvanis does that with a lot of his displays. He has progressional photos mixed with
Oh,
some little blurb.
yeah.
I think that's most of his trees. He's very dynamic in that way, and that's his
Mhm.
approach, which is really cool. But if we're doing a Japanese art form and we're calling it bonsai in America, there is the application where shows in Japan, not that we have to do them like that here, but if we're trying to, I don't want to say imitate or mimic, but if we're trying to kind of transcend something culturally, there is also things that you just adapt to based on display, where it's the seasonal effect by the backdrop or the scroll hanging or the plants used and things in that way, right? So I feel like to be counteract that point, right? Which I agree, we do need that, but also I think that leaves one side unfinished for people to kind of gather their own thoughts about it. But they're going to read it and then just know exactly what it's about, as opposed to them taking it in and internalizing it before they make their assumption.
That's a fair point. Maybe there's not
It's,
a best answer. There's just two different ways to go about it in this case. And each one has a different outcome. And like you say, you might bias the viewer, um, like alter what they would think about it if you spoon feed them what they should think about it, you know?
yeah, because it's always, it's like someone saying, don't think of a red elephant. Well, you're going to think of a red elephant, right?
Right.
It's just going to be that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think on balance that having the context would be helpful. Especially like there was a display, I think I recall having a calligraphy Chinese or Japanese character as a scroll. Well, I don't speak Japanese, so what good does that do for me, you know? I mean, it doesn't add
Mm-hmm.
anything to the display if I can't understand what that is saying. So,
Was it a kanji?
yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. All kanji in Japanese culture are Chinese, just in relation of changed from Chinese to Japanese language.
This is the level of my ignorance. I apologize.
It's not that. I just like
Yeah.
my
I don't know
wife is
either way.
Japanese, and I don't want to be that token white guy. Well, actually,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's like my wife is a Japanese language professor, doctorate of
That's
Japanese
fair.
language.
You
So it's like
gotta respect the
I've read
craft.
the I've read the dissertation. I've read through masters and PhD now.
Mm.
I always feel like there's this thing where I have to not correct, but just educate. And I don't want to be the token white guy to do it, but sometimes it's like I'll be the token white guy to do it.
Yeah, but this is my point, I guess. This is a good illustration. So, bonsai in America is a lot of token white guys, and some of us know less than others. Me,
And there's
and
and there's a
so
lot of
there is
people
an
that
education
yeah
needed, you know?
yeah, and that's culturally. But also, are we trying to mimic Japanese culture, or are we trying to do our own thing?
I'm kind of, I mean, well, listeners will know I don't mind not mimicking them, but some
I mean,
people
what is
want
it?
to mimic them. So
Is
that's
it imitate?
everybody's
Is it
choice.
the old saying, imitation is the best form of flattery?
Yeah, that
You
is the
know,
saying.
because it comes to that old thing where it's like our shows, are we doing the American side of it, if there is one, or are we pivoting to an application to say this feels more American than that? I don't know.
Mhm.
It comes from a culture, but then it goes to China and then wherever else.
Yeah, it's kind of up to each person that makes the display. It seems like Bill did give some freedom to the people that were doing the displays. There was even one I remember seeing that I don't think had any stand or
Mm.
accent or anything. So I'm not sure how Bill feels about that, if that's the type of thing that he will usually allow in.
From
But
what
I
I
mean,
know,
it seems like
from,
there is some creative freedom there
from what
in
I
terms of
know
the displays.
is that he generally is a purist in relation
Mm-hmm.
to how he likes his bonsai. He loves Japanese bonsai, like that's his thing, and he'll tell
Yeah.
you that. I've heard that from him personally, from his talks and other things. So I'm quoting verbatim. It's not something I'm pulling out of thin air. And also, I think he's not dumb by any means. He's making this. He's made this whole thing what it is, and he's helped America in the bonsai approach of whatever we're doing with trees or whatever anyone chooses to do, whether it be Dan Robinson to whoever else. There's still an influence from what he's doing, but he's also giving us an outlet to be able to show our qualities and our personalities.
Mm.
And so I think with him, it looked like, even from the last one, that he's kind of allowed more of a avant-garde approach, maybe. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's my
Oh
opinion.
yeah, there's the Ben Keating display there also, one of his metal stand / pot creations, and some kind of accent that was similar.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's an award that they give out, All American. So the
Mm-hmm.
stand, the tree, the pot all have to be American made or come from America.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Karen Harkaway
I
won
wonder, maybe
that
that's the one that the Randy
native
Bennett
species.
won. The Randy
That's
Bennett
cool.
Bonsai
No,
Book might have won that.
no, I think the one that won is some juniper
Oh,
that
okay.
was in the Jonathan Cross pot in the Austin stand.
Oh, you mean the pine?
Oh, who won that?
It might have been the pine. Yeah, that one pine, the big
I,
one.
I
That's
think
cool.
I know who won it, but I don't want to say because I might be wrong.
Oh
Yeah,
well.
it's okay.
Well, anyways,
Oh, it's
so
6:15, everybody.
yes, that's what I was thinking. Is there any other things we want to reminisce on from this national show? Any other tips for the listeners for if they're going to attend the? I guess the
I
next one might
do.
be
I have some
2027.
tips.
Okay, go ahead.
Tips away.
Kelly's tips.
So if you're gonna get a hotel room in the hotel that the show gets a block of rooms, get it ASAP
Mm-hmm.
because it's a pain to try to find another hotel unless you know the area or have a certain preference for a certain type of hotel. I would book that or reserve your room early. Just make it easier if you're just in the same hotel as everybody else.
Yeah, and you run into more people.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if there's a discount buying your weekend pass early. I know they sold out
Mm-hmm.
for like Saturday, so people had to wait till Sunday or something, or
Mm-hmm.
wait till the afternoon on Saturday to be allowed in. Wake up
What about-
early
Oh,
on
yeah,
Saturday and get there early. I couldn't wake up. I was so tired because I think we were hanging out too late on Friday, and I couldn't wake up.
Yeah, so how was the line on Saturday morning? Kevin, were you the only one that lined up that early, or did you make it, Kelly?
I made it
I
at
was
10.
the only one that
Mm.
got it there at 7 or 7:30 in the morning.
You were the only one in line?
No, from us, 3 of us.
Oh,
So
Because
how
y'all
long
are
was the line when you got
goobers.
there at 7?
7:30. It was probably from the front door to that edge of the building, and then it
Okay.
progressively started going back. And I was standing next to Red Tail Pottery, or not Red Tail Pottery anymore. I forgot his name. Apologies. But him and I chatted for a bit, and then Chase, Kevin, I need your help. I was like, okay. So I went and helped Chase.
But yeah, they don't let people in until 9. And
Yeah.
then apparently this was new this year. They only let a set number of people inside at one time. So you line
No,
up.
that's due to fire code.
Right. Well,
They
some people
that
said that
happens
they didn't do
usually
it in the past, but
yeah, I didn't notice it in the past. This time, I think they did have a fire marshal
maybe in
or
the
somebody
COVID
counting.
year that they had social distancing or whatever anyway,
Yeah.
so it wasn't an issue.
And there was half the amount of people, so they could just let anybody in.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say as far as a tip for people who've never been or continually go, make friends there and always meet up with them there, and amongst other places. And go with club members if you have a club, or go with
Mhm.
people that you talk to online and meet them in person, exchange numbers, and continue that journey together, because you can always go with meeting someone there. And don't be afraid to introduce yourself and literally just go meet people and say, hi, this is who I am. Let's chat. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And,
does make for a richer experience.
yeah.
Ryan, what about you and your first time going?
Well, it was a lot of fun, I would say. It kind of
Tips,
made
Ryan.
me think like,
Tips.
oh, why didn't I go before, But yeah. Other thing I was gonna say about this, what was it?
What are your tips you have for the first timers?
Right. Well, try to get there a little earlier than I did if you can.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't sleep at a bus stop.
yeah, or a rest stop or whatever.
Yeah.
I did pack some snacks, which I thought was good. I had like an apple and a protein bar on me, so I didn't feel like I needed to rush out to lunch at any time. I could hang out as long as I wanted, basically. Trying to think. On Sunday, the line, I went there a little bit early, maybe 8:30 or so. Do you remember, Kevin? So a little
I
bit
don't. I don't.
early, the line wasn't that bad. I got in with no problems on Sunday. So I think Saturday morning is when the line is longer because it's the first day.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
then everybody's trying to buy or like scout the vendor area before things sell. So
Yep.
if you're trying to buy things, go early on Saturday, I guess. Oh, the
I have
other
a t-
tip. Oh, what were you gonna
Go
say,
for it. Go
Kelly?
for it, Ryan. I have
Okay,
one more.
before I lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, even if you don't stay in the hotel that the Nationals has that block of rooms in, you can still hang out at the hotel bar.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard that a
Hmm.
lot of people were hanging out there. I hung
Yeah.
out there some with Kevin and met some new people after the Hugo workshop on Saturday. So we met Larry Jackal, a friend of Dan Robinson,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And
Henry,
Henry.
one of
Yeah.
Larry's employees at the Denver Botanical Garden. So that
And
was cool.
a past National Bonsai and Pinching Apprentice.
Yep, and met some of Kelly's friends from everywhere, and met some old, or not old, some friends that I had known previously from Louisville when I was traveling to their show. So it was kind of a good hangout spot. And I heard a lot of people stayed up very late hanging out at that bar and got kicked out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I went home early to catch up on sleep, which I was glad I did.
Kelly, what's yours?
So this year wasn't as hot as the year before, and I heard prior years were even worse. So
Mm,
in the facility where they have the show, I think when you first get in the morning, it's not as hot and humid. But as the day goes on and more people come in and the temperature goes up outside, so on Amazon they sell portable fans, like electric fans that you
Oh,
could
the
just
handheld
recharge.
ones.
Yeah,
Yep.
handheld ones.
mhm.
And some of them you can put it on a lanyard and just sit on your chest and blow air on your face. That would help to have that because it gets really hot in that facility.
Yeah,
Mm.
that is a good tip almost forgot about, but I was surprised. Apparently, that big indoor soccer field doesn't have air conditioning, so I don't
It
know how.
does. I heard it does. It's
Oh,
just
well, they weren't using
really,
it.
yeah. It just, I think it's really expensive to
Yeah,
use.
yeah.
That's just what
So,
someone said. I don't know.
oh, I see. So it would add to the event cost probably, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So
big place.
dress for warm weather because it's in early September, pretty much.
Mm.
So summer's still around. Yeah, and
Mm.
even though it was cooler, like kind of like a fall temperatures, it was definitely warm in there when you get 400 bodies in one place. So,
If you go outside to cool off, if you walk by the door, like as you're outside
mhm.
cooling off, you can feel the heat inside coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah, so a portable fan is
Nice.
nice to have.
yeah. Any other tips we can think of? Oh, bring a tape measure for your pot shopping. That was helpful for me.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and
Nice.
and measure trees of interest ahead of time, and maybe take some photos. I had to text my mom and be like, "Oh, can you go measure this one tree for me?" Because I had thought that that would be a good idea to do, but didn't make time to do it because I was working a lot leading up to it. So that was helpful.
Mm.
Oh, it'd
Sweet.
probably be good to like look at the list of vendors before you walk in.
Probably,
Yeah.
but I feel like you always know that there's going to be a big, like a lot of pot makers, a lot of everything, unless
Yeah.
you're, unless that would make or break the decision for you of like, are you going to go early?
Well, like I didn't know Bonsai West, or is that what they're called? I didn't know about them, and they were
Uh,
mentioned in a seminar. I was like, oh, who are they? And they actually had a lot of cute little plants or trees.
yeah,
So kind of looking up like who are these vendors and what do they specialize in, so you know to like find them.
gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I was not diligent preparing in the vendor area. Originally, I wasn't even planning to buy anything, so whoops. But
Same thing.
yeah, I mean, you're only there once every 2 years, so it's not that bad. But uh, yeah, I could see how looking up the vendors ahead of time, get another way to network. You get to know what people do, and then when you talk to them, you kind of know a little bit. Or you can just
Mm.
ask them when you show up. That works too.
Yeah, that way you can. Well, like me, I was flying in, so like
Mm,
just making sure you have enough space in your suitcase to pack something in there.
yeah. In my case, I was just scanning the room for pots, and a lot of the tree vendors, I didn't even stop and talk at them because So that was my approach basically.
Where's Eli Atkins located?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, so he's kind of East Coast, Midwest vendor.
Yeah.
South, east.
So I'm thinking, I bought from the other potters. So I'm like, next time I want to buy from him, but that
and
would
it
not
is
be
Akins,
here.
not Atkins.
Akins, sorry.
Yeah.
With the Atkins diet.
Yeah.
We'll get him on. I've talked to him about getting on.
Yeah. So Eli corrected the record.
Well, you two, thank you for the journey. I love our breakdowns. We need to do more of them. Thank you, listeners. Hope to see you all at the next show.
Yeah, it was fun.
Just so you guys know,
go ahead.
I got to talk to Bill a little bit. So some of the stuff you guys talked about here, he talked about. So maybe that'll fill in some questions or answer some questions that were talked about, or just similarities that you guys were bringing up. So you'll hear it on the talk with Bill.
Okay.
Forward to that coming out.
So yeah, maybe we'll edit this and get this out in the next week or so, and then maybe we'll work on the Bill one after that.
Yep.
And so maybe they'll be close in time in our feed, and we'll when we get both of them out, we can have them linked to each other so people can find both parts of it.
Yep.
Cool.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Bonsai on.
Bonsai on.
Bonsai on.
Don't forget to check the show notes. I might put some pictures from the show in there.
For sure.
The Bonsai Time Podcast has been produced by Kevin Ferris, Ryan Houston, and Kelly Louie. Find more information, relevant pictures, and links for each episode in the episode description and in our show notes at www.bonsaitimepodcast.com. To support us in creating more episodes, please remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. To go the extra mile, reach out if you'd like to consider sponsoring an episode. To submit questions for future Bonsai Brainstorm episodes or any other suggestions or feedback, reach out to us on social media, through our website, or at bonsaitimepodcast@gmail.com. We are Bonsai Time Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all podcast apps, and at Bonsai Time Pod on TikTok. Lastly, find your host at the links in the description or on Instagram at Kevin_Ferris Bonsai, Bonsai with Kelly, and Ryan is at InVivo Bonsai everywhere or www.invivobonsai.com. Thanks for listening.